Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 22nd of March. So as we move into the almost final week of the month, in fact, have we got we got a bit next week as well, just checking. So the penultimate week. Let's just look in terms of what we got coming out today. Well, we got just one speaker today, nothing else in terms of risk. So there's just clear risk anyway. We've got the Fed Chair Powell speaking. He's talking about innovation in banking. Now, I don't even think that would be a lot of risk in that case. That's at 1 p.m. this afternoon. So there's nothing else that on my calendar at the moment of any significance. So there we are. That's the news. But in news, one thing, if you saw quite a shock down or a slightly stronger or gap on a lot of these markets early hours, may have been caused by the Turkish lira, but that's now recovering quite significantly. So all looks good otherwise. So let's have a look through the technicals then. Before I do that, the other thing that was flying this morning, I did mention it in the headline, of course, so better cover it, was the US Treasury yields. The US Treasury yields were running massively higher at 8 p.m. this morning, 8 p.m. late last night, running into today. They were as high as 1.725. They've fallen off a little bit, but starting to pick it. I just noticed in the recent half an hour or so, starting to pick up again, so pushing up back to 168 at the moment. And that is one of the key things that traders will be watching for as we run through next few weeks, I think, and maybe even longer. But that is at least giving us some volatility in the markets, even if it's just at the basis of the US dollar being stronger. On that note, looking at the euro, and the euro has already shifted down a little bit this morning. And there is still a bit of a gap left there, actually, by looks of things. Almost filled, but not quite. Very bitty as it sits at the moment. It's sort of got this support sitting around this 1875 area. Actually, I think it might tie up. I just checking. There's no other key moving averages. I may just. We'll just come back up to the higher time frames there. No, there's nothing there either. So at the moment it's in sort of free fall, but I'm wary about this morning as I'm looking at the euro dollar. It's popping into a bit of a doji at this stage. It's been putting these lower highs in, and perhaps we will see a continuation post 8 o'clock. I will watch for that. That's what we saw on Friday initially. I'll watch for it again this morning. Sorry, these daily pivots are wrong at the moment. Let me just correct those. Best have the right time frames on those. There we go. There we go. That's where the pivot should be. Now there is a daily pivot above where the gap is, or near where that gap is. So that could be a bit of a chase up to that at some point. Right, that's the euro. The pound. So the pound really is still sitting in this tight old range. It's finally come back and retested that 50 MA. It's holding up half decently overall last week. It's staying in quite a sort of a tight range, although did sell off and was looking a tad soft on the dailies there. Maybe a bit more continuation. A break of this 50 would see more downside, so it's something to watch for as we run through today. Looking on a weekly basis, it's just still sitting there on a weekly basis on its daily 8 at the weekly 8 even. Okay, coming down the time frames, 4 hourly, we filled the gap on pretty much there. It has got a weekly pivot above which could draw it would be a target to the upside if it starts moving back that way. Again, though, as with the euro, lower highs, lower lows pretty much here. But it's again sitting between the daily pivot and its S1, and it's not touched either yet. So a break of this 60-minute 21 may be the sort of the green light on to the upside. We'll see how it goes, but otherwise really looking at the continuation on these markets to the downside. That's the easiest path. Dollar yen, well, it's strengthened a little bit on that news. So money flows running to a bit of safety. Dollar yen the dollar had softened a little bit against the yen on that. It's currently trying to build back, but you just see how tight of sort of range is. It's slight downward channel sitting on the 4 hourlies, and well, it's a real mess. But lower highs for sure on the 60-minute here. Now, bigger picture, I still think there may be some more upside on this, and it may be a break of that sort of trend line would give the sort of green light to buying the US dollar against the yen there. So we'll just watch how that proceeds. But for now, it's still with lower highs, and it's just confirmed another lower high here. It does look like that the US dollar is soft against the yen for now. Aussie dollar gap down there. It's filled its gap by the looks of it, or just about filled the gap. No further support. Now this is in this range that sits there. It's rising, sort of a rising channel. It's broken that. Now generally I would just sort of measure the width of that channel and pop it on there, and that would possibly give us something back towards that daily 100. So if we do see these markets rolling off, perhaps that's the target. There is the weekly pivot above, which could also draw this at the moment. So it's sort of that early stages. All right, okay, it's already over its S1, not quite filled the gap. Daily pivot, weekly pivot above. Really, it's not a lot of meat in this. If it does break, I'm just looking at sort of the break of the trend up the top here for the upside. But in terms of the targets, they're quite close by and not offering very much, and just running straight into resistance, and maybe best played on the downside. If it pulls up to this area, it'd be worth looking to see the reaction of these moving averages. Canadian dollar. So pushed up last with big bullish engulfing, started pushing up further there on Friday. Today, well, again got a weekly pivot below in this particular case. Remember, it's inverted pairing, but we've got the weekly pivot below. Let's just come down one more time frame here, right? So we're all over the daily at the moment. Maybe another break. There's a trend line. In fact, I say there's a trend line. It'll only be a trend line if I draw it on. It's just popped that on there. There we go. So there's a trend line running across the highs here, which if broken would be, let's say, a green light there as well to the upside. Right. That's pretty much the majors looking through there. Let's just switch across then S&Ps. So S&Ps, well, Friday just saw a continuation of that move down, that bearish engulfing bar there, key reversal bar. It's run back to its 34, looking soft. And well, again, it's like the euro and everything else in a lot of these pictures. You've got the weekly pivot sitting above there, which could well be a draw. Sorry, I've got some old fibs on there. Let me just see if I can delete those. There we go. Get rid of those fibs. We'll bang into the daily pivot at the moment on here. So if it draws to the upside, we've got the weekly pivot. Otherwise, to me, it's still looking soft with that start of the breakdown we saw on Thursday, and then the continuation on Friday. This does look soft, and if the market continues getting the jitters with yields, the S&Ps will soften further. Okay, looking at gold. So gold on the dailies here, bear flag territory. This morning we've already shifted, and well, it's put a near-term lower high in there. It's through its weekly pivot. It's looking soft as I literally look at the moment. Is the lower high that's confirmed through this area. Maybe a sell on a retrace is an opportunity there. Maybe just to the shorter time frames, but it does look like, as I say, bear flag territory on that bigger time frame, and there's once again there's a trend line that's running across the lows, which it's pretty much on at the moment. So if a break of that would suggest further downside. Okay, and oil. So oil took a big hit last Thursday, but got a bit of a bounce on Friday. I'm just waiting for this breakdown here. It hit my alarm. It's certainly looking softer. More lockdowns again throughout the world in different countries, particularly in Europe. Might see the price of oil come off a bit more, and I've already seen plenty of signs that like China have topped up. They've got their storage is increased. They're there, and there's all the signs that we could fundamentally have a good reason for a bit more breakdown here, but I'm just waiting for that trigger. Okay, that's oil. And Bitcoin, didn't look at this over the weekend. Let's just have a quick look what it's done over the weekend, if I can find a chart coming through on there. Okay, not a lot really. It's consolidation over the weekend. The price is barely moved, and you can see this consolidation on the dailies here. It's not changed from what I was really looking at on Friday morning. So the consolidation appears, a little wedge pattern there with the trend lines just drawing. Let's just pop them on. Actually, I'm putting them on. I will just put it. Actually, it looks like it's breaking from that aspect, but just looking, holding around. It's just on the line there. It's quite a tight old angle there, but that's where we're sitting at the moment. A break of the upside of the upper part of that wedge would suggest a continuation. In terms of the price action, the way it's been going, that's what I'd really expect there. Right, that's pretty much it from me. Let's just check this. Okay, Nasdaq. Well, Nasdaq, I'd still be bearish if all the other markets are sitting there and looking soft. John, yes, I would still expect to be seeing more weakness there on the Nasdaq as well. Still being a bit on the bearish side there. Okay, that's it for me. I wish you a great day. I will catch you on the YouTube, but I'll catch you in the morning. For the rest of you, I'll carry on talking in a moment. There you go.